Hello everyone, Jesse Webb, TradersPro. Market conditions remaining mildly bearish in this bull market. Saw some constructive bullish activity yesterday. We'll see if we get some follow through on that today. We'll talk a little bit about that. Still seeing just this range bound market, breadth, momentum, sentiment's improving, which is should be constructive for us going forward. Let's take a look at buy-sell ratio. And we really didn't get much of a change yesterday. You can see on the 19th that was, let's move down here, 0.35. Day before that, 0.39. So it actually dropped just a tiny bit. But we're still in that, still have that bears in control, red above green for the buy-sell ratio, which is going to create a little bit of resistance here. That being said, we're starting to see that resistance, or excuse me, not resistance, but the divergence between price activity and buy-sell ratio. So here we're seeing S&P 500 drop, but we're actually seeing higher lows on the number of buys in the database. I'll talk just a little bit more about that when we move to that S&P 500 chart. As sentiment also needs to hold up right here. It's sitting right at that 50% line and maybe dip down just a little bit below it. But if we can get a good rally here today, we're right at that level where we really need a good solid move higher, or any move higher. And it's also at that point where if it continues to slide lower, we could see some acceleration. If we look at SPY, we saw that we're still in this upper momentum zone. So here's our recent swing high. We've got this range of the 236 range, which is connecting the swing high, swing low. And so this is our momentum, this upward range bound. So you can see it's bouncing right off of that low. We saw a pretty good bottoming tail bar right there, which means the market opened, it traded lower, and then it rallied back up. And that is what we want to see on a bottoming process. What I was talking about on the buy-sell ratio was that first move lower, then this counter trend up, then the second move lower. So we're seeing, I'll go back to that chart, but we're seeing this move, and now we're seeing a lower low on S&P 500, but we're on buy-sell ratio, we're seeing a higher low on the number of buys right there. So there's less stock selling off into the downtrend. That's a bullish sign and some support right here. So we'll see if we get some follow through off of that. It looks, it's looking constructively bullish. Obviously, we do need some follow through on that. We looked at the indexes the last few days. We've tipped now on the Dow back to 9, and that buy-sell ratio is less than 1. So we've got some work to do. Utilities is about the only real thing in this indices look that is really performing well currently just in this last few days. A couple stocks to consider today. There's actually a couple of really good looking ones in here. This is one of them, the top one on the list, SVRA. Really tight consolidation after a big move. So when you get a run up like this and then it just is really a tight consolidation where it's not doing a whole lot like that, in this case it's a bullish sign, because there's not a lot of profit taking. There might have been initially, but then there were buyers right back in. Now everybody's just kind of waiting for either some kind of catalyst or some price activity that's going to pull price back in. We also saw in these last 2 days right here significant volume increases, and so that's also constructive. It's a medical biotech stock or a medical drug stock. In that world, we get some volatility, so I'd certainly be cautious. Cautious means position size and stop loss management. Doesn't necessarily mean don't do anything. It just means that do something a little bit smaller than you may normally do. That's always, there's really only 2 ways to manage risk, and that is your stop loss location and your position size. So when you're considering risk, manage those 2 things. It's got a nice bullish profile here and a possibility for a breakout. We'll see what ends up happening on that today. If I scan through some of these other ones, let me just refresh this list. We saw there were 3 or 4 that looked really good in there. SVRA, I like that one. MDXG, very similar price pattern, a little bit different industry. I'm still in that world, that medical world, but tight consolidation here as well. And this one does have a good confirmation bar and some fundamentals to back it as well. MDXG, number 2 on the list. ICVX, I didn't love this one as much just because it's not in the momentum zone. I want to see a stock that's already made the move. It's already proven that it's moving in this direction. That being said, this can be an early indicator that this uptrend, this correction, counter trend, and you're getting a real big move here that could also continue to propel the stock higher. The next one, Eli Lilly, made the list here today. $500 stock. Eli Lilly is, the granddaddy here. It's a big one in the pharma world. So we're seeing some moves in that pharma world. Another one here was Taboola, which is TBLA. Another tight. They're all $3 and $4 stocks. So they're interesting price patterns here. Good confirmation bar. Good bounce off of the momentum zone support area, and could see some continuation on that stock today. That'll do it for today's update. Everyone have a fantastic day today.